Hello everyone, with the Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Saturday evening, September 21, 2024. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video. I'd really appreciate it if you guys get this video up to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more persons who are in the path of these tropical systems so that we can keep everyone safe, especially during the peak of Atlantic hurricane season. That's August through to October. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren. And subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Leave a comment down below letting me know what that's been like in your ear recently. Also, feel free to ask any weather-related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Alright, so let's just take a look at the U.S. National Hurricane Center 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook. Let's see if they've updated it. Alright, so we just have the update that just came out at 7:34 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, which is actually 6:34 p.m. Jamaica time. So about what, 10-13 minutes ago, if I'm not mistaken. We see that we still have that code yellow that has a 10% chance, and the little friend next to it has now vanished. So that system, if it develops, should be staying across the waters of northern portion of North Atlantic as it heads northward. We see that they've highlighted a new area across the main development region that has a 40% chance of cyclone formation within the next 7 days. According to the Hurricane Center, a tropical wave is expected to move westward from the coast of Africa on Sunday or Monday. Gradual development of this system is possible thereafter, and a tropical depression could form next week while the wave moves westward across the eastern and central tropical Atlantic. And we see that they've given it a 0% chance of cyclone formation within the next 48 hours. And we also see that it's kind of tilted from east-southeast to west-northwest. So it might just miss the Caribbean, but we have to stay updated because sometimes the Hurricane Center changes the path, and who knows, maybe it heads more westward than anything else. So we definitely have to stay updated to see what unfolds with that. But our attention now is on this area, the broad area of low pressure across the Western Caribbean. Let's zoom in. Let's get the information, because this is the system that's going to be bringing some amount of rainfall to portion of Jamaica starting late tonight into Sunday, as a matter of fact, as well as Monday and even Tuesday. According to the Hurricane Center, a broad area of low pressure should form during the next few days over the northwestern Caribbean Sea and the adjacent portions of Central America. Thereafter, gradual development of this system is expected, and a tropical depression is likely to form as the system moves slowly northward across the northwestern Caribbean Sea and Gulf of Mexico through the end of next week. Regardless of development, this system is expected to produce heavy rains over portions of Central America during the next several days. And we see that they've given it a 0% chance of cyclone formation within the next 48 hours, that's the next 2 days, and a 70% chance of cyclone formation within the next 7 days. So we now have a code red. The chances of this developing into Helene definitely high, as high as possible within the next 7 days. And we can already see, let's go back to the infrared rainbow satellite images. We can see all of the thunderstorms associated with the system, stretching all the way from the southeastern Gulf across Central America into portions of the Central Caribbean. Look at all of this heavy weather right here to the south of Jamaica. This is definitely what's setting the stage for us to affect portions of the island tonight, Saturday night, into Sunday morning, throughout the day on Sunday, into Monday, Tuesday. We might not see the sun until Wednesday for the most part, if I'm not mistaken. So get ready for that, especially if you're planning on doing laundry tomorrow. That should have been done from today, because the clouds have already begun to take over the island and there's a lot of rainfall associated with it. We're going to be talking more about that later on. Let us focus our attention on what the supercomputer models are showing regarding this system. And we're just going to be going on to the next 108 hours, because that's how long it will take to finally clear out Jamaica in general. So we're just going to be looking at the timestamp right here. We're going to be focusing our attention right here where the system is going to be located For reference, we can see Jamaica right here, and we're going to be looking at the key on the right for all of the moisture as represented by the greens, the yellows, the oranges, the reds are represented all the way up in numbers in inches of a rainfall for sure. So right here and right here for sure. So we're looking at the Euro model first over the next 108 hours, and as we go out in time, we can definitely see that as early as Sunday morning. Look at this. This is 9Z on Sunday, which is actually 4 a.m. on Sunday morning, and we can already see the greens that represents the moisture coming into portion of Jamaica, all of which is associated with this that we're seeing here. Lots of cloud showers and thunderstorms starting to come into the area already. Let's continue to go in time. So it already makes sense. We already have the clouds, so the moisture that the models are seeing definitely making sense. This is as of 18th on Sunday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Sunday. We see the moisture definitely taking itself all across the island of Jamaica, everywhere covered for sure. If it's not rainfall, it's overcast skies for sure. Let's continue into Monday. This is valid for 12Z on Monday, which is actually 7 a.m. and we still see a lot of greens represent the moisture on the Euromol. Continuing to go out in time, even on Tuesday, we still have some amount of moisture coming in. This is 12Z on Tuesday, which is actually 7 a.m. and we still see all of the greens represent moisture across the island. The area of low pressure right there to the west, to the east of the Yucatan Peninsula and Belize right there. And as we continue to go out in time, even on Wednesday, we might still have some lingering rainfall. This is 12Z on Wednesday, which is actually 7 a.m. Although we're seeing some white starting to come into play that indicate little to no rainfall, we're still seeing some amount of greens across the Jamaica area. And we also see the abundance of moisture right there between the Yucatan and Cuba. Definitely a lot of heavy rainfall for sure. And as we wrap it up and head to the 108 hours, this is as of 0Z on Thursday, which is actually 7 p.m. on Wednesday. 7 p.m. on Wednesday is the same as 0Z on Thursday. And we can see that most of the moisture is starting to lift into the Gulf of Mexico, still plaguing portions of the Cayman Islands, Cuba, and the Yucatan Peninsula. But for the most part, Jamaica is starting to clear out with more whites than anything else. Let us see what the GFS model is showing for the same time period. So as we go out in time, we can definitely see that as early as, let's say, yes, on Sunday, this is 12Z on Sunday, which is actually 7 a.m. And we see all of the greens represent the moisture across Jamaica. Definitely, if not overcast skies, definitely some amount of a rainfall for sure. Look at this, 6Z, 12Z, 18Z. Look at the heavy rainfall, especially to the west of the island, with all of those yellows, oranges, and reds. And we see the dark greens that represents all the way up to 2 to 5 inches of rainfall across the island. We can rule out some rainfall for sure. All of that was Sunday into Monday. Now we're heading into Tuesday. This is about 6 on Tuesday, which is actually 1 a.m. on Tuesday. And we still see the rainfall, all the moisture across the island. The heaviest of it associated with the air flow pressure starting to push westward, as we can see there. And even on the latest run of the GFS, the 18Z that just came out an hour ago, we're seeing that 12Z on Wednesday, which is actually 7 a.m. on Wednesday, still has some amount of moisture coming into Jamaica for sure. I know that if the low pressure is somewhere here, it's definitely going to be bringing more of a southeasterly kind of flow across the island. So our southern parishes are definitely going to be susceptible to some amount of rainfall, because we know these things go. These rain bands always wrap around the area of low pressure. So look out for that in general. So the much needed rain for southern Jamaica is coming. Just wait and see. Wednesday, and even some rain even on Thursday. Look at that. It just keeps extending. This is 12Z on Thursday, which is actually 7 a.m. Either way, we're going back. We're stopping right there. 108 hours for sure. We see the differences. The Euro at the end of the 108 hours has the system more so across the Yucatan Peninsula. As a matter of fact, let's go back one. All right, right there. So we can see this is 0Z on Thursday, which is actually 7 p.m. on Wednesday, 7 p.m. on Wednesday. All right. We can definitely see the airflow pressure closer to the Yucatan Peninsula right there. A lot of moisture, definitely a weaker system, so it makes sense that it would be going more westward than northward. That's on the Euro. But on the GFS, we have a stronger system, so it's going a bit more on a northward track, not hugging the Yucatan Peninsula coast at all. Definitely lashing portions of western Cuba with a lot of rainfall though. And we're just going to be stopping there because we're dealing with the moisture across Jamaica in general. After this system gets closer to the US, we can worry about that. We know a lot of persons from Jamaica live in the US, and there are a lot of other media out there covering this system as it heads to the US. So please ensure that you follow those local weather office for the most accurate information in general regarding your state. As it relates to the accumulated precipitation over the next 108 hours in general, this map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both showing all the rainfall that's expected all the way up until the end of the day on Wednesday, if not early Thursday. And we can see all of the rainfalls represented by the reds, burgundies, purples into the pinks. Look at the Euro. The Euro was not this robust a couple days ago, showing all of these purples and pinks, especially across western and southern Jamaica, but we're starting to see it now right there. The GFS showing more of the heaviest weather off to the south and the west of the island, even into those salmon and bluish colors right there that represents all the way up to 20, maybe 25 inches of rainfall. And the thing is, the area in and around Jamaica could get in on more rainfall than we see here, especially with the upper level wind shear pushing all of these thunderstorms off towards the east. So we have to take these forecasts with a grain of salt. As I said before, when it comes to these troughs are very tricky, and it's definitely a trough that's going to be causing a lot of this moisture associated with the Central American gyre, which is basically a broad area of low pressure spinning right here across Central America. It's the trough that's going to be pulling all of the moisture into this area right here, and this has happened before. We're used to this. It happens in May, it happens in June, it happens in September, October, November. We have to pay close attention because we know it can cause a lot of flooding. And as I said before, the thing with these troughs, it could be a case where we get a lot of the rainfall out to sea. It could be also a case where we get a lot of rainfall on land, causing damage, flash floods, doing the most that we don't want to happen. But what we really need is the rain to cool down the temperatures, not necessarily to cause damage at all. So we definitely have to be on our P's and Q's. We have to be on the alert just in case we get more rainfall than expected. We're hoping for less rainfall than expected, not enough to do damage, but definitely enough to cool down the temperatures and keep the water in our pipes. Either way, as time goes on, I'll definitely be here to keep you posted with what's happening. If we take a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, we can see the trough right here, reaching all the way across the Bahamas into portions of Cuba. We can see the area of low pressure that the hurricane center is watching to the northeast of the Caribbean. This one, not so much. And according to the hurricane center, the tropical wave that's expected to push into this area and possibly head west-northwestward. It hasn't come off of Africa as yet. It's somewhere over here still. We'll definitely be keeping watch. We can also see that we still are being dominated by a ridge of high pressure to the north that we know is responsible for sending all of these entities from east to west in the flow of easterly trade winds. If we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before the sun went down, we can definitely make out the moisture associated with this area. Look at all of these bands. We can also see it moving in the air in the low levels of the atmosphere from southeast to northwest for sure. Some of this is definitely coming to Jamaica for sure tonight into Sunday. Definitely gonna be a wet Sunday, if not overcast for sure. You can also see the clouds associated with the trough that we just mentioned across Cuba, the Bahamas, east of the US. The clouds associated with that code yellow that the hurricane center is watching. We still have the naked swirl to the east of that, but the hurricane center is no longer watching it, especially considering the thunderstorms have been sheared off to the east of that system. And I'm guessing this is the system across Africa the Hurricane Center is watching that should make it into the main development region and possibly develop as it moves towards the west northwest. We'll be talking about the rest of the Caribbean to the later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Saturday, September 21, 2024. It was stated that parts of northern and western Jamaica would have received some afternoon rainfall on Saturday. And just for reference, we know northern parishes, we're talking about those parishes on top, like Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland. While western parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Cornwall, like Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, Westmoreland, and St. Elizabeth. And what ended up happening? As early as around 3:15 p.m., the infrared satellite images were posted here on our Twitter page at Weather Jamaica. By the way, keep in mind that these posts aren't only made here on our Twitter page, but they're also made on our Instagram page at Weather.Jamaica, on our TikTok page at Weather Jamaica, and on our Facebook page at Weather Jamaica 876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there, as we may post throughout the day that you can't afford to miss. So if we take a look, we can already see the high cold cloud tops that were starting to come in, streaking in from the west or from the southwest across the island, bringing some overcast skies, especially across western Jamaica. And we also saw the thunderstorms within that. Anywhere we see the sparkling white, as we know there's some kind of thunderstorm taking place. And we saw that across western Jamaica. We also saw that across sections of northern St. Andrew, if not southern St. Mary, western Portland right here. If we take a close look, definitely saw that. And we also posted another image at around 5:25 p.m. highlighting the thunderstorms that were still lashing western Jamaica, Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James for sure. And if we actually take a look at the visible satellite images of Jamaica before the sun went down, we can definitely see that low level flow from the east southeast and that high upper level flow from the southwest or the west southwest. And then the thunderstorms started building across especially western and northwestern Jamaica for sure, being blown off towards the northeast. And if we take a look at the infrared satellite images of Jamaica before the sun went down, we can definitely see the thunderstorms and how they played out across the island, definitely lashing northwestern and western parishes, sections of northwestern St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James, sections of Trelawney might have gotten in on some of the action, so too maybe section of St. Mary. And we definitely had confirmation from one of our followers on our Twitter page. We had Selena right here stating thought it was a next burial. So that indeed confirms the rainfall across her area, wherever that is. And I even think I got a comment on our Instagram platform from one of our followers about rain in their area. Here we go. Here it is right here. We had Legister._ stating getting thunderstorm in Hanover an hour ago as well, just to confirm the rainfall in those spots. However, we didn't get much in the way of anything at all across the corporate area. This is the Barbican camera, and we can definitely see Barbican in St. Andrews sunny for the most part. This was at around 2:49 p.m. Don't see much of anything happening. People and vehicles going about their business for sure. Definitely sunny skies. But keep in mind that this could be the last time to see the sun. Well, just for the weekend in general. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, maybe Wednesday. Not seeing much sunshine at all. Maybe sunshine will be back. If not Wednesday, on Thursday for sure. By the way, keep in mind that if you'd like to see more live streams like this, you can visit See Jamaica's YouTube channel. They also show Halfway Tree, Crossroads. They also show the Flat Bridge, as well as the Kingston Harbor and the panoramic view. And they're planning on increasing the amount of cameras that they have in and around the island. So subscribe today so that you don't miss out. If we take a look at the accumulated precipitation for the past 24 hours from the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology website, that's the CIMH, this map does indeed paint a picture of how we had the rainfall today, more so across northern Jamaica and western Jamaica. section of northwestern St. Elizabeth, Trelawney, St. James, Hanover, Westmoreland, just like what we saw on the satellite images as well for sure, even spilling into portions of St. Mary and section of eastern St. Anne. So that indeed confirms the rainfall that we got. And if we take a look at the very latest infrared satellite image, keep in mind that this image is just came out as of 55 minutes past the hour, and look at that. We're starting to get in on the action now. So 55 minutes past the hour is about 6:55 p.m. So this just came out, what, 11 minutes ago? And we can already see that the rainfall is starting to come in. Not only across western Jamaica, but even some southern parishes, we're starting to see the thunderstorms already. Right there off to the south of Kingston, St. Thomas, St. Catherine, right there. Deep convection starting to show its face. And given the flow, most of this could definitely head in to portions of some southern parishes starting tonight. So some isolated showers, if not some isolated thunderstorms, in store for a portion of the island tonight as we head into Sunday for sure. And if we take a look at the very latest Cuban Doppler radar images to confirm this, we can actually see the rain bands coming in. Look at all of that heavy rainfall already. As a matter of fact, by the time this video has been uploaded, the rainfall should be somewhere across southern Jamaica if I'm not mistaken. Keep in mind that this is as of the latest update. This is what, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 7 p.m. Jamaica time. So this image just came out 7 minutes ago, and we can see the heavy rainfall. The greens, the yellows, oranges, reds represent moderate to heavy rainfall right there to the south of St. Catherine, south of Kingston, south of St. Thomas. And we can see the general flow of all of this pushing in from the southeast, heading towards the northwest. So we're going to be getting on some of that. You can also make out that rainfall that portion of northwestern Jamaica got in on today, Hanover, St. James, most of which is off to the west and northwest of the island. And we can see some rainfall right there to the southwest of the island as well. So the rain is definitely on its way. It's coming. Just give it some time. I know that we're hot. Cannot stand the heat anymore. It's on its way. Tonight for sure into Sunday. If we take a look at the Guantanamo Bay Cuban military radar, we can see some rainfall right there across southeastern Cuba. Not seeing much between Haiti and Jamaica at all. If we take a look at the Cayman radar, we can see that rainfall that we just saw on the Cuban Doppler radar across the waters to the southwest and the west and the northwest of Jamaica. You can also make out some rainfall to the northwest of the Cayman Islands too. And if we take a look at the very latest Flatbridge cam, we don't see much of anything happening. People in their vehicles going about their business. Water definitely still, but for how long? Maybe the rainfall could have the Flatbridge in spate over the next couple of days. If we actually get that rainfall, if the trough doesn't, trick us, because, these troughs can do that for sure. Can make it seem like it's going to be raining a lot and then most of the rainfall is displaced or offshore. If it's not during the afternoon, maybe during the early morning hours with a lot of flooding. Who knows? We just have to pay close attention and be on the alert. If we take a look at the temperatures right now, we can see about 27 degrees Celsius in both Montego Bay and Kingston. And by about 4 a.m. on Sunday, temperature should dip down to about 25 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay and 25 degrees Celsius in Kingston. It makes sense that the temperature forecast for tomorrow has more in the way of these grays and some slight blue colors in and around Jamaica. That's what we like to see. We know all of that represents average to slightly below average temperatures. That's what we like, and given the cloud cover and the rainfall expected from the trough and the broad airflow pressure, it makes sense that average temperatures to slightly below average temperatures, maybe at least 1 degree Celsius below average, especially across western Jamaica, could be experienced. And we know the average temperatures for the month of September across Jamaica are about the same as 90 degrees Fahrenheit. 90 degrees Fahrenheit is about the same as 32.2 degrees Celsius, so we should be receiving anywhere from maybe 31 to 32 degrees Celsius at most for Jamaica's temperature on Sunday, and we're indeed grateful for that. We don't even need to show this map, but just because it's not going to be hot doesn't mean that we shouldn't stay hydrated, so please ensure that you stay hydrated as much as possible. If we take a look at the Saharan dust forecast for 2 p.m. on Sunday, not much change. Majority of the Atlantic in general getting in on the clear. Most of the dust associated with the Sahara Desert should be across the waters of the eastern main development region and Africa, as we can see by those brown colors. And as it relates to the wave forecast for tomorrow, we can see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in consensus that we're still getting in on those lighter shades of blues to darker shades of blue stretching from the Gulf of Mexico across the Western Caribbean, the Bahamas into the Central and Eastern Caribbean. That represents anywhere from 0.5 a meter wave height all the way up to 1, maybe even close to 1.5 meter wave height. And that's because the winds are not going to be that strong at all, averaging anywhere from 5 to 10 knots, maybe even gusting to 15 knots in some spots. And we see the general direction across the Caribbean coming in from the east, if not from the east to southeast. As it relates to the winds across Jamaica, we can definitely see more of an easterly flow, if not an east-southeasterly flow across the island tomorrow. And given the projection, we can't rule out some of that rainfall throughout the day in general. We see this map showing that the air should be piling up. It should be piling up, but there's no specific area that's going to be piling up. So there's definitely going to be some amount of rainfall somewhere across Jamaica tomorrow. And the upper level winds, if we actually take a closer look, yes, coming in from the southwest. So who knows, maybe northern Jamaica again might get another brunt of the thunderstorms. Even though the rainfall is coming in from the south, in the afternoon, we know how things go. The daytime heating leads to more thunderstorms, and with the upper level winds pushing all these high cold cloud tops up towards the northeast, afternoon rainfall is definitely not out of the question. So look out for that if you're in the north. If we take a look at the actual rainfall forecast maps now. Alright, so we just saw the Doppler radar images. The Cuban radar site right here showing the heavy rainfall off to the south of the island coming in. So it makes sense that the Euro and the GFS models are showing something coming in. The Euro model showing more of those dots of blues off to the south of the island. This is as of 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tonight, maybe that's about 10 p.m. Jamaica time. We see that right there. GFS a bit more robust, showing more in the way of rainfall, even coming into portions of the island with those blues. Heaviest rainfall off to the south of us with the dark blues, greens, yellows, oranges, reds, even some pinks in there. That could be signaling some tremendous rainfall tonight into early Sunday. So please be on the alert just in case. As we skip ahead to about 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, on the Euro, we see what the GFS was showing starting to come into play right there after the south of the island. The greens, yellows, oranges right there. GFS at 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 2 a.m. Jamaica time, not showing something like what the Euro is showing, but we still have the blues representing rainfall across the island. By about 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 5 a.m. Jamaica time, we start to see that we don't have those tremendous colors, the greens, yellows at all across Jamaica, but we still have those blues that represent rainfall. The GFS has it across central and eastern Jamaica. The Euro has it across southern Jamaica for the most part. Skipping ahead to about 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, it's actually 8 a.m. Jamaica time. Not seeing much on the GFS, more white than anything else, with more rainfall off to the southeast of the island. Euro has more of the rainfall across southern and eastern Jamaica, to the north of the island, to the northeast of the island. It's going to be interesting to see what unfolds. Either way, Sunday looks wet, especially on the Euro. Look at the Euro right here, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 11 a.m. Jamaica time. Rainfall stretching from the east to the west. Even some heavy rainfall, the greens, yellows, oranges in there. GFS not as impressed with the same time period. Some dots of blues represent rainfall off to the south and west of the island right there. By about 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time now, we start to see more consensus. The rainfall, especially across southern Jamaica, and the blues on the GFS, not as robust though as on the Euro with the widespread blues that represent rainfall. Then by tomorrow night, this is about 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 9 p.m. Jamaica time. We see the heaviest of the weather right there to the southwest of the island on the GFS. Greens, yellows, oranges, reds, purples. And keep in mind that these are just 1 hour total rainfall map. So this is ridiculous. If any of all of this gets on land, flooding is definitely a possibility. You can see some slight shades of blues across southern and eastern Jamaica though on the GFS. Euro has most of the rainfall right there off to the west of the island as well as across southern Jamaica. We also see the consensus for section of southeastern Jamaica as well. We'll see how this goes. Either way, Rainfall is gonna be affecting Jamaica tomorrow, and it's gonna be especially across southern Jamaica for the most part. If not tonight, into tomorrow morning, throughout the day, most of the afternoon rainfall for northern Jamaica should be, as stated, during the afternoon. So it makes sense that southern Jamaica is going to be picking up the most in the way of rainfall within the next 24 hours. This map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 3 on Monday. When that's calculated, that's all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Sunday. And we can definitely see all the reds right there that represents up to 1 inch of rainfall for southern Jamaica. We know southern Jamaica, we're talking about Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine, Kingston, St. Andrew, and St. Thomas. So look out for that, because both the Euro and the GFS models are in consensus with this. GFS even showing a lot more rainfall with the purples that represents up to 3 inches of rainfall, especially to the south of that. And the thing is, the rainfall could be affecting more widespread areas. There could be other areas picking up more rainfall than this, or there could be areas that are not getting in on much rainfall at all. Rainfall elsewhere while you're not getting rainfall, so don't get upset if you don't get the rainfall, but there's definitely rainfall in store. And don't rule out if we can't rule out if we get more overcast skies than anything else. We can't rule out if we get some flash flooding, some tremendous flash flooding, or more of the rainfall out to sea than anything else. So we have to take these forecasts with a grain of salt. Something is out there, and it's a very active hurricane season. We have to see exactly what unfolds. Either way, we'll take the rainfall to cool down the temperatures. We're in the month of September in Kingston, whose bar graph is being shown right here at the top. We usually receive close to 100 millimeters of rainfall for the month of September. That's almost 4 inches of rainfall. In Montego Bay, we usually receive close to 7 inches of rainfall for the month of September. That's almost 175 millimeters of rainfall. And clearly we can see that Montego Bay gets more rainfall throughout the year than Kingston in general. And keep in mind that if you'd like to see what your specific parish receives throughout the year, you can visit weatherandclimate.com and look up your parish to see how the rainfall is usually distributed in inches or millimeters. Also, you can use this map right here, this little graphic that shows how the rainfall on the rain gauge is calculated. We know that 1 inch of rainfall is about the same as 25 millimeters of rainfall. Alright, so that's it for the weather across Jamaica. Let us focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So we can see the usual thunderstorm activity across portions of Cuba enhanced by the trough, section of the Bahamas getting in on the mix, Central America too getting in on some of the bad weather associated with the Central American gyre, broad area of Spain and low pressure, section of Northern South America getting in on some of the bad weather too, sections of Colombia, Venezuela getting in on some of the action. But if we take a look at the northeastern Caribbean today, we can definitely see that most of the weather today was across Puerto Rico, especially if we load these images from earlier today. We can see that we definitely had some rainfall across sections of central and western Puerto Rico for sure. Inland areas with all of those greens, yellows, oranges, reds that represent some light to moderate to even some slightly heavy rainfall. But as of right now, we don't see much happening across Puerto Rico, but we do see some rainfall right there to the north of the British Virgin Islands, to the north of the Leeward Islands in general, to the east of Antigua and Barbuda, Guadeloupe getting in on some of the action as well. If we take a look at the Barbados radar, we don't see much taking place. Don't see much taking place at all across the Windward Islands, Grenada, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, St. Lucia, Martinique, Dominica, Guadeloupe not getting in on much, not even Trinidad and Tobago. But if we take a look at a wider view of Doppler radar images, we can see some of that rainfall across western Cuba, the Yucatan Peninsula, northern Guatemala, section of Belize, Honduras, sections of the waters to the east of Nicaragua, northern or northwestern and northeastern Venezuela right there. And that's really where the rainfall is expected within the next 24 hours. As stated, in and around Jamaica, we can also see some rainfall in store for sections of Cuba, the southern Florida right there, the Bahamas, section of Haiti, the Dominican Republic might get on some of the action. We also see some isolated shores in store for portions of Puerto Rico, anywhere from Guadeloupe northward, even Dominica getting in on some isolated shores. Not seeing much taking place on Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines or Barbados, but we do see some rainfall if we look southward for sections of Venezuela for sure, section of Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, El Salvador, Guatemala, Belize, the Yucatan Peninsula, and even portions of the Cayman Islands. I know that when both maps from the Euro and the GFS are in consensus like this, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.